Former NFL player Chris Long got a great freaking podcast. I almost listen to it daily at this point. It's called Green Light, multi-time Super Bowl champion. Love his perspective, particularly as a defensive mind. He loves himself some Kyle Hamilton, Sarah, and it's hard not to, whether you're a former player or not.
Who doesn't love themselves some Kyle Hamilton?
I know. Regardless.
Unless you're the opponent. Miami Dolphins probably don't love themselves some Kyle Hamilton.
I would think. And regardless, though, right, whether you're a former player or not, what this guy's doing is so fun to watch. It's so impactful. We've seen it now, consecutive seasons where his alignment and his usage, there's a direct correlation between that and the way this defense plays. Statistically speaking, so far through a now 7-game sample size, doesn't tell the whole story, but the last 2 games, first against the Rams and now against Chicago, certainly does tell that story, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come for Zach Orr and company. Here's Chris Long and his crew talking about what Kyle Hamilton did on Sunday in a winning effort against the Bears at the bank.
Hamilton picking Joe Thuney on 3rd down.
The box. He's looking like Dante Hightower out there, man.
And he should be in the
You know what
box.
I'm talking about?
So
He should be in the box.
Yeah.
So we kind of hypothesized.
He was pass rushing. He had 2 pressures.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he did a good job in the pass rush. We hypothesized that with the Gilman trade, he would be kind of become more of that like in the box weapon for them. 20 snaps on ball, 18 in the box, 25 in the slot. So kind of picked up Gilman to play deep safety so they can kind of weaponize him there. I think you're going to see a lot of nickel for them and a lot of dime too. That's what they did yesterday with bringing Awuzie in. Then you have Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey playing in the slot on both sides. So
If they can just turn him loose, it's exactly what we said. Turn him loose, make him the guy in the box.
he's your best player.
He's your best player. Make him affect every snap. Don't. The further away he moves from the ball, the easier it is to work around him.
Yep.
And when he's down in there, and you saw him on 3rd down, I mentioned that play because I swear to you, go watch that play. It's one of the single most athletic plays I see on the field on a Sunday. Is this guy coming from depth, picking a guard, which is usually the job of a linebacker in a pressure like that. And then beating everybody else to Caleb Williams. He speeds up off of Joe Thuney. It's crazy to see him work down in there. So
specifically, he's referring to the play, Sarah, that led to one of the 2 intentional groundings. We've discussed this at length, particularly in the instant reaction, but it's cool to hear from a former player's perspective like Chris Long. So, again, goes and picks Joe Thuney, really talented guard for Chicago, and then almost catapults off of 62 and comes flying down to track down Caleb Williams. It was exceptional. Just exceptional stuff from Kyle. And then I think the bigger picture here is this plea, like this begging that you just heard there, not to make the change, but sustain the change. Keep that change intact. And that is Kyle Hamilton. Turn him loose. Make him the guy in the box. He's your best player. Make him affect every snap. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I spelled affect with E instead of A. Son of a. Okay, excuse that. I swear to you, go watch that play. It's one of the single most athletic plays I see on the field on a Sunday. Coming from depth, picking a guard, which is usually the job of a linebacker in a pressure like that, and then beating everybody else to Caleb Williams. It's crazy. One of the many things, Sarah, that Kyle Hamilton does that even makes former players gush like they did there.
It's gush worthy, right? It's just, here's what's funny is the pleading or the begging or whatever. It's not needed. I think this is what the whole point of the Alohi Gilman trade was. It was to be able to put Kyle Hamilton back inside the box or move him around like a chess piece. That was the whole point of it. You can move this guy around so much. And I just loved watching. We just did a whole segment on the nickel where he was like, hey, they're doing a lot of nickel. And I'm like, yeah, you don't say. We just did a whole segment on that with Coach Coleman. And to see him next to Roquan Smith, that's so much fun that he's in there essentially as like an inside linebacker. And so he does. He affects every play. He's uber athletic. And he's also the most even kill person. There's very few that's more even kill from him. than him. After the game, Baltimore Banner and many other outlets caught up with him. Post-game locker room. All of us are over here feeling completely relieved. There's just a big sigh of relief. Just like, oh, at least for 1 week, we've saved the season. Todd Monken's out there he's saying F you to everybody. He's got this pent-up aggression. So much energy. Tyler Huntley, super happy. He's back in Baltimore. He's reminiscing about these phone conversations and text messages with John Harbaugh. Lamar Jackson's engaged and animated throughout the game. And then enter Kyle Hamilton, showing no emotion in the best way possible.
Sigh of relief is this moment right now.
Don't think it's a sigh of relief. I think it's just what we expect to do on Sundays. I mean, we didn't just win the Super Bowl with nothing. We won a regular season game against a good team, and all 3 phases I thought did some good things, and we got some stuff to improve on. So we got a game in 4 days. I'm worried about that now.
Chicago's first 2 drives, they were able to get down the field, but some key plays kept them from getting into the end zone. And after that, they didn't do a whole lot. What were the changes you guys made?
Yeah, I think throughout the season we've been a bend and then break team. You know, we give up long drives and then touchdowns. And I feel like, you know, just growing up throughout the season as a defense, we have become a bend but don't break team. Like, they got down in red zone a couple times and we held them to the 3 points, and you know, that was the difference at the end of the game. So it's just consistency, everybody keeping working and grinding.
Nate gets hands on one. Just kind of how good was that? Turnovers been something you guys been
Yes, yeah. Shout out Nate. Don't put the camera on him right now. But I mean, we always talk about getting turnovers, and you know, he's got our sole 2 picks this year. I'm trying to match him at some point, but you know, share the wealth, and I'm happy somebody got it, because that's big momentum shifts in the game, and field position like that. Like, it starts with our punt team down on the ball, back them up, put the pressure on, throw a pick to Nate. So happy for him, happy for our defense, happy for the team.
How about Snoop out there leading?
That's funny. Yeah, shout out Nate. And he looks over, he's like, but don't put the cameras on Nate right now. That's the risk of doing in locker room interviews and whatnot. But I just love it. Like, this is why it's important to have so many different types of personalities. There's so many different types of leaders. You know, it's so easy to get amped up with Todd Monken. It's so easy to get amped up with those types of personalities, like a Ray Lewis in the past and Ed Reed and whatever. But there's also guys like Kyle Hamilton, who are just all pros, who, as we just showed, other former players are gushing over him, begging coordinators to use him, you know, as much as possible to impact games, talking about how athletic he is. And yet he's just even kill. No, we didn't just win a Super Bowl. We just won 1 game, like, just super low key. Now, each game is a playoff game, basically, from here on out. You might have a little bit of room for margin, but you can't with these opponents that you've got coming up. And he just that's how he leads, by making sure that everybody stays even kill. You don't get too high. You don't get too low.
I think that's why, even though this was not certainly the most vocal take ever several weeks back when he was under fire for the spoiled comments, you did still see a contingent of this fan base that everything that you just outlined was front and center in their mind, which is why they were willing to give him the benefit of doubt, or quick to accept his apology.
Yeah.
Based on his explanation. Like, you know, you say things sometimes in jest, or you say things that roll off the tongue, and it's not the way that it meant to come out. It's not how you truly feel. It was blown out of proportion. And so I think there was, even though the folks that were vocal on that were loud and very, very noisy, aimed at Kyle, particularly given what they were putting out on the field, which had, I'm sure, something to do with that level of emotion. I think you also had just as many people in the Ravens fan base that were like, look, this guy is the heart and soul of this team. To your point, he is always calm. He brings that presence to not only his locker room availability, but this defense. And now you're looking at it, back-to-back seasons. Who knows? Will we have those graphics up? And if you could go back to that one, actually, just because there needs to be in the next several weeks, we'll have to see how things end up. But right now, much like they were through the first 10 weeks last year, they're being laughed at, Sarah, as a defense. And in Jeremy Fowler's case, he's laughing at the entire AFC North. The entire league is, maybe, outside of Cleveland's defense. Now, when I say the entire AFC North, yeah, Cleveland may have a championship defense, but what do they have to show for it win-loss wise right now? Not much. Look at the total defense right now in terms of rankings entering week 9 between the Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals. This is bottom of the barrel. And if you're Cincinnati, it is the bottom of the barrel. They're the dead last ranked defense. Pittsburgh's 30th, and the Ravens are 28th.
Oof.
So it's a long way to go, but we've seen it now against the Rams. We've seen it now against Chicago, right? I for my money, it's one playoff team, Rams, one fringe, probably not playoff team. If you're Chicago, right now they're set up to be a wild card team. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks for them. Remember, they went 4-2 last year and then lost the last 10. So we'll see what comes of the Bears. But we're seeing right now what's come of Kyle Hamilton and the addition of Alohi Gilman. And now it's time for them to dig themselves out of the hole, continue to play complementary defense, continue to take the football away, and hope and pray that this run that they can go on paper comes to fruition.
Yeah, like it's these 3 teams are kind of trending in different directions though, because the Ravens were in that 32nd spot. Bengals were so bad against the Jets. Yeah. They let the Jets have 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. The Jets. Oh, we were upset that the Ravens allowed that to Josh Allen and the Bills, and we should have been upset. But my goodness, it wasn't the Jets. Have I poo-poo? Have I done enough strays to the Jets here so far? The Steelers couldn't stop the Packers. They allowed 20 straight completions to Aaron Love. I almost combined the two names together, but to Love, and you had former players being like, that's hard to do on air in 7-on-7s to hit 20 straight. So to allow that, meanwhile, the Ravens used to be at 32. They've moved up 4 spots. It's not easy to move up. They need to continue moving up. I actually wonder what their rank is over the last maybe 3 weeks, just because they had the one bye in between there. So that will be interesting. Are we going to have a graphic like we had last year, where it was like weeks 1 through 10 or weeks 1 through 9 and then weeks 10 through 18? Like, that's what we're hoping for. Again, like I said to Coach, I still hope they make a trade for that defensive line to get more 4-man pressures. But here are the keys. That's not the only key, but these are the other things. We just talked about Kyle Hamilton and how well he played. We need more consistency from Roquan Smith. Check this out. He had 100% tackling efficiency against the Bears, according to Next Gen Stats. 100% tackling efficiency. It doesn't get better than that for those that do math. 12 tackles, 7 solo. He was the highest graded player on the team, not just defensive player. Bobby, I love seeing grades from PFF that starts with a 9.0 or a 9 and then something behind it. He had a 90.7 PFF grade. So if these trends are going to continue the way that they're going, that allow people like Jeremy Fowler to continue to laugh at the AFC North, but finally say, but wait, the Ravens have figured it out. And so it's Kyle Hamilton, it's Roquan Smith, and it's Wiggins. It's Wiggins, who is also been puffing his chest out, asking to be traveling against the opponent's number 1 wide receiver. And despite getting picked on in the first half, he comes back and makes that great interception. And it's like, these are your leaders. Nnamdi Madubuike is out. You're relying on a rookie pass rusher in Mike Green, who had a great sack that we just watched. Tavius Robinson is out. The coaches are figuring out these personnel packages. But these 3 are going to be your key. Add in Marlon Humphrey because he's a longtime guy. He's getting paid. But these stars have to step up and continue this. It can't be a one-game thing. It can't be like one game against the Browns. We need to stack it. We need to see it on Thursday against the Dolphins.
Harbaugh and Wiggins yesterday.
He's a joy to coach. He just is into it, man. He just everything you say to him, he's all ears. He wants to do the right thing. You know, I joke with the DBs because they get more text from me, video text from me than anybody, and he gets as many as anybody. He always is right back, you know, with his thoughts on it, and it's just fun because it does show up in the way he plays. And he'll be the first to tell you there's plenty of things in that game he can do better and wants to chase perfection. But he's a student of the game, man. He's a student of the game. He works really hard at it, and to see it pay off with a big play like that in a critical moment, that's what guys dream about. That's what coaches dream about. So it was a great moment.
And then one more thought on, graphics to come, current graphics in this case, courtesy of CBS Sports. I mean, it's a good step in the right direction, but it's a 1-game sample size. And you see it right here. The first 6 games of the season, this is a Ravens defense that's allowing 32.3 points per game.
I don't think
over 300.
There it is.
Over 380 total yards of offense per game, including another 370 plus, as you see there on the right-hand side of the column against Chicago on Sunday. 8 total sacks through the first 6 games. That's total. And you take away Nnamdi Madubuike's too, and that number looks obviously south. And just 3 takeaways over those 6 games. And so, again, the yardage for Chicago, that's got to get way down, 372, a lot of which came in those first couple drives. Overall, though, the Mike Green sack certainly helped on 3rd down. Nate Wiggins, no bigger play game wide than jumping that Adunze route. But if you want graphics like this, Ravens defense has got to start stacking so that you can it is going to feel like it's going to be funny. It won't be 10 games, 10-week sample size like it was last year. Apparently this year it'll be 6 if they keep trending in the right direction.
Well, but I think it should be the first 5. I wish that they had combined Rams with it because they kept him to 17 points. That's where I would differentiate it, because that was after the Alohi Gilman trade. So maybe somebody else will do that at another time.
Yeah.
But the big one is the points per game. Kyle Hamilton was saying it was a bend but don't break mentality. Well, prior to Bears, it was like a bend and also break mentality. Like it was both. So keep it going, keep stacking.